And now we want to bring in State Representative Gina Hinojosa, who is a Democrat and a former Austin ISD school board member. She joins us live in studio tonight. Representative Hinojosa, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, so you just heard Governor Abbott say that you can have both school choice and a fully funded public education system. What is your take on that?
Well, I'll say in the reality of what we're looking at today, we are coming nowhere close to fully funding our schools. The governor, the speaker, the lieutenant governor like to throw out the term fully funded, but let's talk about what that really means. In Texas, we need another 4,000 students, $4,000 per student just to reach national average in per student funding. Just to reach 2019 spending levels because of inflation, we need to increase the basic allotment or per student funding by $1,340. This equates to about $18 billion. The proposal before us today is about $8 billion, so a full $10 billion shy of what we'd need just to keep up with inflation. When you put a voucher in that budget, then you blow up school funding in perpetuity. And so, no, we are not fully funding schools. In fact, we are doing more harm than good.
And Democrats have said that this would be taking public funds away from schools, public schools. Arizona passed something similar when it comes to school choice. And what has come of that?
Well, so Arizona has blown up their budget because what this universal school choice is it means that every student currently in private school is eligible to have between $12,000 and $30,000 of their tuition covered now by the taxpayers. We can't afford that. We aren't even investing properly in our neighborhood public schools. We should not put the taxpayer on the hook for covering the private school tuition of every single student in private school in Texas. It's outrageous, and the only reason, because it does, when things don't make sense at the Capitol, you follow the money. The only reason the governor is pushing this is because he received the largest campaign contribution in all of Texas history by one out-of-state billionaire by the name of Jeff Yaz, and that is why taxpayer-funded vouchers are a priority this legislative session and last. It's not about students. It's not about achievement. It's not about Texas taxpayers. It is about making his #1 donor happy.
And I do want to point out, not all Republicans have been on board with school choice, particularly those who live in rural areas and really don't have access to private schools, and they're concerned about funding for their public schools. So is there any middle ground? Is there any room for compromise?
Well, there is conversation about just letting Texans vote. You know, Texas public schools are so much a part of who we are as Texans. They are enshrined in our Texas Constitution. If we're going to make such a big change to the way we educate our students, we should ask the voters what they think. States all over this country have given that opportunity to the voters, and we don't see why Texas voters shouldn't have the same say when it comes to their students' education.
I want to bring it home to Austin because some schools are really in trouble, like Dobie Middle School. They've received poor ratings. Some parents believe that public schools don't meet their child's needs. So should these children be stuck if they can't afford to go to private school or homeschool? What other options are out there without school choice?
Your neighborhood public school is the only option that is a right of every Texas school child. And so if those schools aren't meeting the needs of our students, then we need to make sure that they are, because this term school choice is really the school's choice. This bill gives no child a right to a private school education. Again, the only right any child will have, with or without the taxpayer-funded voucher bill becoming law, will be their neighborhood public school. And so we should ensure that every child receives a quality education in their neighborhood public school.
If your party was in charge, how would you run Texas public education differently?
We would prioritize our neighborhood public schools. We would listen to parents and teachers who say the number one priority they have is to make sure we have a good teacher in the classroom. That's the best thing that we can do for our students, is putting a qualified teacher in the classroom. We are in a crisis. There's a teacher exodus happening in Texas. My son didn't get a 5th grade teacher a few years ago in Austin ISD, but this is happening all over the state. We now have more teachers, new teachers in Texas who are not certified, and that is because we are not paying teachers their worth. The governor likes to pay teachers lip service, but has yet to put on the table money to pay them their actual worth.
All right, State Representative Gina Hinojosa, thank you so much for sharing your time and your perspective with us tonight.
Thank you.